The New Mutants could have delved deeper into the psyche of these rather special, rebellious kids but wastes its setup by following a predictable route. There is an interesting idea at the heart of the New Mutants. What if a larger blockbuster franchise is used as the universe for smaller stories, of characters that may or may not go on to serve a larger purpose in the respective, cinematic universe? It can also be a way to include varied genres and fresh perspectives that explore more nuanced issues or complex characters while being tethered to a familiar franchise. A young adult horror flick from The Fault in Our Stars director Josh Boone, The New Mutants may not be the perfect proof of concept for the potential of such an attempt, even though it does have a few things going for it. After an incident that wipes out an entire Native American reservation, young Dani, Blu Hunt, finds herself as the only unexpected survivor of the devastation. She wakes up in an institution that houses more people like her, the ones with mutations, identified young, now being studied and trained to deal with their new powers. We quickly realize though, that this is not Professor Charles Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, but a different, more sinister enterprise. While Dani doesn't yet know what her own powers are, she meets others who've traveled a bit more along their X-journey. The X-Men find mere fleeting references because this film is about these specific characters. The film doesn't take too long to establish its genre beats. Set almost entirely within one sole eerie building, with a handful of characters that are ostensibly trapped within, sharing their issues in group therapy sessions with the good Dr. Reyes, Alice Braga. You sense soon enough that there's something a little off about this austere institution. While the youngsters are figuring out their own interpersonal dynamics and conflicts, there's something else that seems to be closing in on them. There are a few things that can be appreciated in the New Mutants. The young cast, led by Maisie Williams and the irrepressible Anya Taylor-Joy, does a solid job. The young mutants have to turn to each other for friends as well as foes, and their varied interactions anchor the film. Even a queer romance plays out organically within. While James Mangold's Logan remains the gold standard for a character-driven X-Men story, The New Mutants shows that it can also be treated differently. A still from The New Mutants, Fox and DISNEYIt suffers, however, because, by the end of its 94-minute runtime, it still ends up being more faithful to the superhero formula than to what appeared to be its own initial intentions. It also seems longer than its 94 minutes, which is rarely a good thing for a movie. Beyond a point, the horror elements fail to be sensory or gripping. There are times when the film is almost, I hate to say this, boring.